Even before Sime and Lukman were yanked off the team at halftime. I think since from the moment the Congolese equalized, they began to dominate. You see, it was very clear they were hungry. They wanted it more. They wanted it more. They played like it. They had, it was a mixture, just like Nigeria. I think we even have more international players in the Super Eagles than DR Congo.
100.
They had a mixture of home-based and foreign-based players. But you could tell they outran us, they outplayed us, they outwitted us, everything.
From start to finish.
From start to finish. Absolutely. We cannot complain.
Okay. All right, that's Gabriel Spector here to join in on the show this morning. Very pleased to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we always do this often? Okay, well, you heard him, the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Eric Chell, has alleged that DR Congo staff members engaged in voodoo during the penalty shootout on Sunday World Cup's playoff, where the Super Eagles were knocked out of the race for another chance to appear at the World Cup. That's this time for 2026. Well, the term voodoo is commonly used to describe a range of traditional, spiritual, or ritual practices, although it is frequently applied inaccurately or misleading way in sporting conversations. So he said he saw them doing something like sprinkling water or something like that looks like it, but he didn't understand what was happening. That was why he reacted the way he did. So it wasn't just out of context, but something prompted it. Voodoo still work in football?
Of course it does. Voodoo works in
does it still work in Africa?
Of course it does. It works in Africa. I mean, in MPFL, they still talk about.
No, we don't use voodoo here.
They don't. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Well, those that are alleged are just alleged. Anyways, when Moses Simon, a player who's been around the Super Eagles for as long as I can remember, I think when Mikel Obi was still the captain of the Super Eagles, Moses Simon was very much around. When you have such senior players, that is why they call you a senior player. That is why you earn those caps. We have many international footballers all over the world that could have been in the Super Eagles. You are there because you have experience. You don't set up your body, open up your body. I don't know about voodoo, but Moses Simon standing to take that penalty kick and setting up his body that way, it showed it summed up the entire Super Eagles. Mediocrity, I'm sorry to say, but we need to call it what it is. Mediocrity, lackadaisical attitude, that lack of hunger. Maybe it was the off-pitch, issues, tussle with the NFF, unpaid allowances that's, translated onto the pitch. I do not know, but you do not take penalties like that. And then, guess what? When it was time for the penalties and they substituted the goalkeeper. That was when you know that a team doesn't do that unless they are sure that the goalkeeper that they're bringing in is good or better at dead balls. Yeah. So it would have just, I do not know, put some nerve, put some vein into it. Come on. So let's talk about voodoo or not, but those balls were abysmal. Semi Ajayi, I said it, I was in the football match with, I said Semi Ajayi has never been a decent, apart from Osimhen, there is no other Super Eagles player that is a regular penalty taker in his club side. Home or abroad. So, we knew that that's not our strength, but we were the ones playing like we wanted the penalty. It doesn't make any sense.
All right, thank you. There is also Benga in the studio with me. I think you do more of the talking, yeah? The phone lines are officially open. You can call in and just tell us how you feel this morning. For me, I can't speak. But we are live, though. We are live on Nigeria Info on Facebook. Yes, that's Nigeria Info FM Abuja. And on YouTube, Nigeria Info Abuja. Benga. So, Spector talked about penalty takers, and if there's one person who has been consistent in taking penalties for the Super Eagles in recent times from the 2023 Nations Cup, it has to be the defender William Schultz Ekong. He finished his substitutions, no space for Ekong to come in. You knew this was leading to penalties, and some would ask, why did you not bring in Ekong? how did we resort to Kevin Bassey taking penalties? There's Moses Simon, who just came in as a substitute. I'm sure he wasn't brought in to take penalties. We've not seen Moses Simon taking penalties. Right? I can't remember the last time he took one for Nigeria. But there is Adekong, who is actually always perfect in taking penalties. So do you also blame the coach for whatever? Maybe the in-game management, the substitutions. Again, I understand he's had a good run so far since coming on as the Super Eagles head coach. But what happened yesterday?
So most of the complaints has been about, Victor Osimhen was substituted in halftime and the whole team crumbled. Now here's my point. So when the squad list came out, we had 54 defenders, 72 goalkeepers, 2 midfielders, 99 strikers. Now, I'm exaggerating, of course, but when all of these things came out, we are now relying on just one attacker. Case in point, when we played against Gabon, a lot of people came out. Ako Adams is there. See, he came in and he scored a goal. Once upon a time, Alokudari comes in and he will score a goal from the bench. And in our minds, we thought we had a better attack than the Senegalese team, for example. 2 strikers came in yesterday. The first striker in Ako Adams had more fouls than attempts on goal. That's if he even had any. Ako Adams was committing fouls on the defender when it was supposed to be the defender stopping him from creating attempts. Tolu was a substitute that came in, was substituted. That just sums up the whole thing. So while we are even talking about penalties, should we even get to penalties? Really. Should we even submit our momentum to a DR Congo side and shows zero enthusiasm in the second 45? I mean, up until 116th minute, we had 0 shot on target. So again, no matter how we want to see it, it trickles down. It's not about the blame game. We are not just good enough.
Okay. One of the things that beats my imagination, it flies over my head. 230 something million people. Are you telling me that there is not one creative midfielder that can represent the Super Eagles?
Is it just the midfielder? You cannot produce strong 11 players that can represent.
I mean, for the sake of the current team that we have, one thing I kept seeing is trying to progress play through the middle of the pitch, through the center midfield, and it was non-existent.
At some point, it was empty.
In fact, the person who is the most, in quote, air quote, creative player in Iwobi was dropping as a 6.
He was lost
to pick up balls, and I'm like, okay, now we have a very strong header in Osimhen. Use the flanks.
Forget flanks. You are saying Iwobi is dropping to 6. Who is supposed to play 6?
Ndidi, right?
If Ndidi is injured or is out, do we have another option?
No option.
Okay.
Frank Oyeka. Let's even call Frank Oyeka. If you look onto the bench, we have Halassan Yusuf.
Please, do they dissolve NFF?
Wait now. There are 2 players on the bench that had 0 game time up until our crashing out yesterday, and they were midfielders. That Erishe could have said, okay, we have nothing to lose, come in and play your part. You removed your extra midfielder, brought in an extra attacker that was non-existent, and exposed the 2 midfielders that weren't even great even in the first half. So my point is, no matter who you want to trade blames to,
NFF needs to take a large portion. NFF needs to take a lot. We will trade blames because we're not happy. This is the second. By the time the next World Cup comes around, maybe Osimhen can play qualifiers.
That there's an AFCON this December.
No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not forgetting.
Because this is how we want to play Senegal. This is how we want to play Cote d'Ivoire.
All right, guys. Maybe we can just try to squeeze in one call and then tell you. Someone he mentioned about disbandment. Some team has disbanded everybody. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah,
good morning, okay, good
30
morning.
seconds, you're welcome.
All right, so this is Victor. It's really heartbreaking after watching the game and how the whole thing ended. Well, I wouldn't want to say this very blame should go to the NFL because they're not the one that played the game. The technical crew are people that I would say they should take part of the blame, because how can you be taking out you know you're heading to penalty, and you didn't bring in those people you know that can play penalty. This is a fault of the coach and the backroom staff. They're supposed to talk to him, just like Benga said. What he was supposed to do was to bring in some people that will help stabilize the midfield, because porous, the Congolese, they were just penetrating the Super Eagles anyhow, and there was nobody to
Of course they did.
There was nobody in the midfield to help them hold down these guys from the attack, and it just ended the way it ended. So what I think they will just start now to begin to prepare for the next World Cup, and not looking for who to fire and hire. So
all right, thank you so much, Victor, for calling in on the show. Talking about fire and hire, Kun Khalifat FC of Imo State have disbanded the entire management and the coaching staff of the club after a poor start of the season. That's talking about the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League season. The Owerri-based club made the announcement in a statement after the 1-0 draw against Nasarawa United at the Danayam Stadium, Owerri, on Sunday. Well, King Khalifat said that the decision was reached after a thorough review of the club's structure, performance, and long-term strategic direction of the club, where they acknowledged the outgoing management, dedication, and service to the club. They have actually recorded 3 wins, 4 draws, and 6 defeats in 13 NPFL matches this season. That is not a way to start a season. I mean, the fact that you're new, in the league, and I'm also a fan of that club. So, my state, Imo State, Kun Khalifa, the other one who was in to represent Imo State last season, got relegated. There is another one who got promotion, and it's not been a good run so far. And still talking about the NPFL and other matches, where Ikorodu City, of course, have managed to go top of the NPFL 2025-26 Nigeria Premier Football League table for the first time in this campaign after their 2-1 win over Plateau United at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena on Sunday. After a goalless first half, Joseph Arumalas gave up Ikorodu City a perfect start to the second 45. Well, second half, substitute Alade Balogun added the second in the 54th minute before the visitors pulled one back through Wisdom Ndom before the end of the game. Well, other areas, we saw Rivers United, former handler Stanley Eguma, also working the tightrope at Enyimba following their 4th defeat of the season at home to Wiki Tourists. It was also their 2nd defeat at home this season. So it's been a lot of emotions, surprising result in the Nigeria Premier Football League. But okay, so just one shot before we call it a wrap on the show this morning, because we are getting close to that time, the award time for African best club coaches and all of it. Okay, national teams. Well, not those Falcons more should get nods. That's Nigeria Victor Osimhen as well, and of course not forgetting Rasheedat Ajibade have all been named among top finalists for the 2025 CAF Player
More news and
information. So yes, so look out for that one and see how many we are able to clinch this time. The defending, or should I know it's called defending champion, where the reigning African champion, talking about Ademola Lookman, could not, of course, he was expected, didn't make the final cut. But there's Osimhen, Ashraf Hakimi from Morocco, and there's Mohamed Salah of Egypt. I don't know if we stand a chance this year to win the CAF Player of the Year award.
I strongly doubt, because of course continental glory takes is a huge consideration in these things.
Okay, thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless Nigeria. Attention now, shift to the Nations Cup, Abuja. That's much you can take this morning on Sport Drive. My name is Ogechi Madu. Thank you, my GS, for joining me on the show today.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, so what's happening in Abuja comes up next. Good morning.
The energy